Welcome to the Consultants Training Institute's Conversations with the Masters series. I'm Brian Jones, with the pleasure to have Rick Gray joining us for this installment. Rick, welcome.
It's my pleasure to be here, Brian.
Thank you, Rick. First of all, that's a smart bow tie. You look good, man.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I've always been partial to bow ties.
Yeah?
Way back when I started my public accounting career. I do like the traditional forms of dress, and
Sure.
This seems to work. And
You're rocking it.
People seem to like it.
It looks great. I'm
So.
going to, one of these days, surprise you at a conference and bust out the bow tie, and I'd be interested to have your opinions.
Well, certainly. I know that I've picked up a number of fashion tips from you as well.
Did you find the Psycho Bunny line?
I've got the Psycho Bunny line in my
Did ya?
closet. Yes, I do.
I have one. I'm going to wear my Psycho Bunny polo shirt tomorrow. Wait, tomorrow's Thursday. Friday?
Okay.
Psycho Bunny is a line that is sold at Neiman Marcus, Nordstrom's. I don't own any stock. This is just a plug for a really cool polo shirt for men. You can obviously wear polos and alligators and so forth, but Psycho Bunnies are really cool. So,
And the fact that they're sized in the European fashion, so
Yeah.
it's nice to wear. I wear a size 6
so I think
instead
I'm a
of the
6'2".
big,
Yeah, large.
large.
Sure. So, little side story here, but
A little bit.
But back to you, the Rick Gray Show. You have been instrumental in training hundreds of CVA candidates over the past, 10, 12 years?
You know, I've been thinking back as to when I got started in all this, and time does fly when you're having fun.
Sure.
So I never really know exactly. I know it was in the mid-1990s sometime, but I remember even when I first approached you about serving as an instructor for the program. And
One of the things that you mentioned was at the time, or just before then, you were an instructor with Becker.
Correct.
Training CPAs for the CPA, well, future CPAs for the CPA license. Before that, obviously getting into the CPA profession and into valuation and litigation, can you tell us where you studied, where you went to school, what you studied, and how you found your path into valuation and financial forensics?
Certainly. My path was somewhat convoluted in getting into this specialization, although I'm glad I took the path that I did. Actually, my first degree is from the University of Maryland as a medical technologist. I ran a clinical laboratory for 7 years. And it's funny because in my office, I have my diploma up on the wall, and it's from the School of Medicine. So sometimes when colleagues or clients come in, they kind of look at it and look at me a little strangely and say, well, that doesn't sound like you should be sitting behind a desk and doing valuation work and forensic work as well. But from that beginning, I got involved with going to school in the evenings, getting my MBA, which was taught by a number of CPAs. And I took their advice, sat for the CPA exam, and started my work in public accounting. Well, my partners in that particular firm, and I'll date myself by saying it was two Schross, knew that I had a healthcare industry background. So back in the early mid-1990s, there was a movement in the healthcare industry where hospitals were buying up these physician practices and trying to put these physicians into these large primary care groups. Well, one day one of the partners came to me and said, Rick, you've got a healthcare background, you know about the revenue streams and how these things operate, so we need you to go out and put a number, put a value on these physician practices for our hospital clients. We had a number of hospital clients who were buying up these practices. So without any background, without any knowledge, I went out and I must have valued, I estimate 300, 400 physician practices back in the day. And again, I had very little guidance to go on until I happened upon the NACVA. And I still recall taking my training in Baltimore, where I'm from originally. I practice in South Florida now. And in that program, it gave me a tremendous amount of information as to how to go about putting a value on these physician practices for my firm. And so that's really how I got into this specialization. I'm glad I did. I mean, I am a licensed CPA, but I do little, if any, traditional CPA type work anymore, and I haven't done that for about 18 to 20 years. And I'm really fortunate, I feel, in getting into the specialization at the time I did. And so it was through the programs, through the certification first, and then through the ensuing continuing education programs that were brought about by the NACVA that I really got immersed into this specialization.
So, valuation, any particular specialty areas, healthcare, perhaps, since it was your introduction to your career in this space, litigation work. What are some of the types of engagements you take on and areas of specialty in your practice?
Well, one thing I like about this specialization is not the fact that you simply are doing valuations of different types of businesses in different industries. Yes, I started in the healthcare industry, but becoming a valuation expert allows you to deal with valuations in all types of for all types of businesses and all types of industries. So my practice rapidly expanded to providing valuation services for retail, manufacturing, professional services type entities as well. And in addition to that, a lot of what we do dovetails easily into the litigation support services setting. So not only do I do currently, for instance, a lot of my valuation work in a litigation setting for family law or corporate divorce, M&A, litigation consulting, but then that moved me into the area of financial forensics as well, because oftentimes in a divorce setting, if you're trying to value a business that might be owned by one spouse or the other, there might be some questions with regard to the way the numbers are being reported in that business. So therefore, you have to do a little bit of digging, a little bit of analysis in doing so. So not only has this pulled me away, and again, by the way, in terms of background, I did start my public practice in auditing and tax, which served as a good basis for me in the valuation side. But from there, I went to the valuation. From there, from the valuation to other litigation support services, which again is given me a very diverse practice, which I thoroughly enjoy.
You have, as we touched on when we first started speaking, trained in the Business Valuation Certification and Training Center, particularly the fundamentals, techniques, and theory of business valuation and the application of the income and asset approach, calculations and applications of the income and asset approaches. As you're training these candidates, obviously to prepare to be successful for the credentialing exam, but also to be successful when they actually have engagements to complete. What are some of the, besides the technical content, some of the advice that you would give and do give to those candidates coming into the program about how to be successful in this profession?
I think the primary consideration that candidates need in order to be successful in this specialization is not only to have the analytical ability, which generally we all do. If you're going to be involved in business valuation, whether you're a CPA or a non-CPA, generally you have a background of dealing with numbers and dealing with that type of analysis. But what is equally important, I find, is the fact that your ability to communicate the results of that analysis to an attorney or to a client or to a third party who may not be well versed in the field of accounting or valuation or financial analysis. So you have to be able to demonstrate to them through the written word, as well as oftentimes verbally, as to what you did, why you did it, and make them comfortable with the fact that you're coming up with a reasonable conclusion of value or a calculated value based on your efforts. So it's that area of communication skills, I think, that is equally important to the analytical skills that we develop in this type of specialization.
A lot of valuators, analysts struggle with keeping up to date on all that there is to know, case law, the different theories, academic research, in many cases, there are state laws specific to the purposes and research for valuation, economic trends and industry trends and those kinds of things. How do you keep up to date with all of that stuff? What are some of the tools and secrets you have tucked away to stay current?
We definitely are in an age of information overload. And when you get involved in this type of profession, you are inundated from all sides through email, regular mail, publications, articles, journals, and the like. You have to, I think, pick and choose those sources of information that you're comfortable with, the ones that are going to provide you with the information that you really need to know. And I know that for my practice, and individuals' practices can differ, certainly, but for my practice, again, the sources such as the Value Examiner that is put out gives me a good background good background as a way to keep current with what's happening within the profession. And this is a very dynamic profession, and you can't rely on approaches and methodologies and analyses that you were taught 2 or 3 years ago, not even 6 months ago, because of the dramatic changes that occur. So again, the Value Examiner certainly is one source that I rely on. I also, there are a number of email sources that provide me with weekly or bi-monthly issues that I need to then delve into further as well. So you've got to just try to, as you get into it, look at the various sources of information and update information that you're getting and find those that work for you.
So some years ago, you moved from Baltimore, Maryland area to sunny South Florida.
That's correct.
Near the beach, Atlantic Ocean. How's that change been for you?
It's been wonderful.
Yeah.
I really enjoy living in Florida. There certainly are some aspects of living up north that I miss.
Like what?
You know, one would be, I think, I'm a city kid.
Okay.
I was born, raised, and had my entire career in Baltimore, Maryland, and I like feeling the concrete under my feet, as it were, and that whole city atmosphere. Florida really, the cities down there aren't
Much laid back.
Yeah,
And
much
more
different.
spread out, too, probably.
Exactly, much more spread out, much more laid back. Don't really have the character that I enjoy for the cities up north. And then also, I do miss certain seasonal changes that we had up north that we don't. I certainly don't miss the snow and the ice and the sleet, but you know, just the summer going into fall, winter coming into spring. It's a lot more subtle where I'm living now, but still enjoyable.
One season or two, you know, hot, not so hot.
Yeah, basically it's summer or our winter, which can be very pleasant, certainly, but I do enjoy living there.
So in your free time, I know you've got to be one of the busiest instructors and participants in the machine of NACVA and the CTI, teaching a lot of courses, webinars. You are past chair of our executive advisory board, a past chair of our valuation credentialing board, a past chair of our education quality assurance board, a past chair of our conference, and chairing our conference again. So we certainly appreciate all of the work that you've done for the profession, for the organizations, and want to say thank you for that. Hopefully we've left you with some free time for you and your beautiful wife, Nancy. What are some of the things that you guys enjoy doing together?
Well, right now the focus of our life is a rescued golden retriever that we rescued about 5 years ago. He's 11 and a half now, slowing down a bit.
Okay.
But he really kind of runs our lives for us. So we like spending a lot of time with him, taking him to the beach, taking him outside, and so forth. But what I really enjoy doing outside of my work is, one, takes me as far away from a computer as I possibly can get.
Okay.
I like working with my hands, and right now we purchased a home in Delray Beach in 2005 when we moved there, and I'm renovating the home room by room. So I enjoy doing the home improvement type thing. I spend a lot of my weekends at Home Depot and Lowe's,
Oh, yeah.
you know, and I gauge the way I do a renovation or I do a project by how many times I've gone to Home Depot over the course of the weekend to get
Okay.
what I need.
Do you keep your receipts and add it all up and have a heart attack later?
Not at all. Not at all. But my wife will tell you one of the things that I tend to collect is tools, particularly power tools.
Okay.
And I don't, you know, I'm not satisfied with the consumer version of the power tool. If I'm going
Okay.
to use a tool, even if I only use it once, it's got to be that heavy duty industrial
Top of the
strength,
line.
top of the line,
Right.
you know, type tool.
What's your
But
favorite tool? All of them? Or
all of them. Anything that you know, runs on a 18 to 20 volt lithium battery. You know, those are the type of tools I like to use.
What is your current project in your home?
I just finished my office.
Okay.
And so now I am working on the guest bathroom.
Okay.
So gutting that, retiling, replumbing,
Mm-hmm.
and taking care of that.
You're a musician too, aren't you?
I do like to delve a little bit. I don't play professionally or semi-professionally at all. I play primarily for myself or with some folks around my neighborhood. But actually, my background is I've played alto sax for quite a while. But then I like to practice late at night, and my wife got a little tired of me practicing the saxophone late at night.
Right.
So one Christmas, actually, she surprised me with an electric guitar and
Oh.
a Fender Strat. And she said, "Here, you can play this as often as you want, as long as you don't plug it in."
Wow.
So I do play the guitar now.
That's a nice gift.
So yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Really surprised me, but I thoroughly enjoy it.
Well, I appreciate you accepting a position to co-chair our 2015 annual consultants conference, which will be held in the city of music, one of them in America, New Orleans. Perhaps we need to get together, and I'm serious about this. I know we've talked about it generally
Right.
and in jest, but together in the spirit of music in New Orleans band.
You know, I think that would be a
Of
great
our
idea.
members,
'Cause
yeah.
I know that there are a number of musically inclined
Yeah.
individuals here in the organization.
There are.
And I think we really ought to get together
Let's
and,
do that.
and jam a little bit.
Let's do that.
Sounds
So we're
great.
making that a commitment. We're getting it on camera. It's official. At the 2015 Annual Consultants Conference in New Orleans, being co-chaired by Rick Gray, we're going to, and this is a call to any members in the profession who are musically inclined, reach out to Rick or I, and we'll do our best to put together an ensemble of talented musicians to perform next year live at our conference. And with that, Rick, thank you for your time.
You're very
Glad
welcome.
to have this conversation with you and all the students who have sat in your class. I know they've been benefited by your knowledge, but to get to see and hear a little bit more about you and your career and the background of you is one of the things we are looking to do with this series, and we appreciate you sharing that part of yourself with us. So.
You're very welcome, and I'd just like to end this up by saying that my involvement in the organization is really a payback for what the organization has given me in my career. If it weren't for the NACVA, I certainly wouldn't be in the position I'm at now, because they're the first ones who really gave me the education that I needed in order to move forward in this profession.
Good times.
Yes.
Hopefully more
good
years to
times.
come.
All right.
Thank you again.
You're welcome.
Thanks, folks, and we'll see you next time.